Wade is guarding Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Boom! What is going on, Insurance Syndicate? Happy Winning on Wednesday. We are here live at Syndicate HQ. It is 9 a.m. Central. You know why we're here, because we are here for Winning on Wednesday. It was funny. I was just looking within the group, y'all, this morning. Didn't even realize that March of last month. So that was our 4-year anniversary of starting the group. So that's pretty crazy to think that this thing has just morphed and grown over the last 4 years, and we've been here pretty much every single week. And Winning on Wednesday is not the only show that's going live here in the group. So welcome to all of our new members. Speaking of just growing and morphing and evolving, thank you guys for being here. This is one of our weekly shows, Winning on Wednesday. Before we get into it, you can see that obviously I don't have my normal fearless co-host, Mr. Tony Merwin, next to me. We're going to get into Thad's story and just who he is, one of my newfound friends and actually agent and business partner. So looking forward to having him on the show. But real quick, as always, shout out to Viva Virtual Solutions. Thank you. Shout out to Lily Davies and Rob Lopez. You can probably see Lily in the comments. We could not do it without them here within the Insurance Syndicate. All the clips, all the publishing, all the editing, everything that Lily does here within the group and all of our other channels. And then also Rob and all of our other teammates that we utilize within Clearview Insurance. If you are in the market for a virtual assistant, definitely reach out to Viva Virtual Solutions. Again, that is through Rob Lopez. And you can definitely connect with Lily here in the comments as well. Speaking of the comments, let us know that you can hear and see us. I'm going to get it pulled up onto my phone just to make sure. I can't see the comments on my side. Just want to make sure we get those addressed. But again, I hope everybody is having an amazing start to their week. And real quick, I guess you guys know, start dropping those weekly wins in the comments. But before we get into the weekly wins, Thad, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man? Why don't you let people know who is sitting next to me today? And it was super short notice. It's the first time Thad's ever been on a show like this, I think. Quote me or correct me if I'm wrong, but let them know who you are, man, and what you're about.
Yep. Thad, Lindsay, been in the mortgage industry 20 plus years, also own a real estate firm. And then now my son is doing insurance with Clearview and Joe.
Yeah. Love it, dude. Well, thank you again. I know it's super short notice. Y'all, you guys know how I operate. I was like, yo, Thad, what are you doing tomorrow at 9 a.m.? And he's like, well, at 8:50, I'm dropping my son off at the school. And I was like, you want to be here by 9? But he's here. He showed up. That's one of my favorite things about him. And we're going to get to hear a little bit more about his story. But you guys know, and again, if you're a new member, start dropping them in the comments because we want to be able to celebrate you. It's what the show is all about. It's the peak of the week, but it is all about those weekly wins. Start dropping those in the comments. We want to be able to celebrate you. We don't care how big or how small. Drop them in the comments. I know for me, my weekly win was definitely not playing softball last night. That was a rough one, man. I got absolutely that was probably the worst softball I've played in like the past 2 years. My weekly win is probably, you guys have seen me posting about it here in the group, but I'm working on a couple different mastermind groups. So one of those we're calling Six Figure Freight Trucking Insurance Mastery, where you are going to have just a continuous mastermind monthly calls. We're really excited to launch that. Kind of had our preliminary call with all the partners and third parties that will be involved. I'm really freaking excited for that. And then we actually have another group that I'm working on that basically it's going to be income based. We're deciding if we're going to open it up for agents or if we're just going to do it for clients. But basically, if you're making $400,000 to $500,000 a year, just tax strategies, we'll have like investments and life insurance and stuff built into that as well. But we're excited to launch. That one's definitely a different type of group than I've ever really kind of launched to run. But we're excited about that. So that's my weekly win. I didn't prep you for this one either. What's a weekly win for you, whether it's personal or in business? What you got?
It'd probably be personal. My weekly win is surviving Disney. We went to all the parks with all the kids.
Yeah.
And somehow lived through it.
How was that? How was the trip?
It was amazing. But it was very tiring because we did all the parks in 4 days, which basically is a park a day. Average walk time was 13 miles every day.
Woo! You feeling that? Shed a few pounds going
Absolutely.
to Disney too, right? It's the new weight loss journey. Go to
Quick
Disney.
weight loss.
Yeah. That's funny. Let's see. We got some weekly wins in here. Tony said, steal of a deal on the new truck. I don't know if you saw that. Tony got a new Chevy Z71 Trail Boss Silverado. So he's excited about that. He actually talked about that, y'all, yesterday on his Tuesday training show. So if you didn't catch that show, definitely it's here in the group. It's out on YouTube now. You can go catch that replay. It was a good show for Tony. But he got a new truck, and he did a good job making sure he got the deal that he wanted. And he goes through that on that show. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Thad, I want to talk about some of your backstory, man, and just again let people really know kind of who you are, how long you've been doing it, kind of obviously what you're up to now. And y'all, we're actually going to get into some like really practical, technical, I guess you'd call it expertise or consultation or everything that Thad basically is. Hey, I don't know if a lot of people kind of know about this on the real estate, on the mortgage side of things. So we're excited to share some of that information just for y'all to literally be able to take home, implement that, or reach out to Thad and he can actually walk you through that. So Thad, I know you gave the 30,000 foot overview, man, but just take us back, man. Who was Thad growing up? Obviously, I know some of your backstory as I've gotten to know you, but just kind of who are you? How were you raised, man? And how'd you kind of get to where you are today? Let's talk a little bit about that come up.
Absolutely. Well, if you go back that far, which is a long time ago, started out, if everybody remembers, there was a place called CompUSA. I was running CompUSA's for quite a while and then got into investing in real estate, flipped a couple of houses, and then got a call from one of my friends. Of course, I was not happy at CompUSA, certainly retail and, the working every weekend, opening the store at 4 a.m. type of thing. From that point, got into real estate, got a call from my friend in the mortgage industry, and I really didn't know much about it at all. And he said, hey, these guys are really good at sales. I was sales manager for CompUSA. And he said, you should come over and interview with us to see if this is a fit for you. Certainly I did. Had to borrow a tie from one of my friends because I didn't have a suit, tie, anything. And that was required at that point. This was in Houston, I guess, in 99, right around there, or 2000, right around that time. Went to the interview. They said they would think about it. Of course, I blew the interview away. And by the time I hit the elevator, I was already hired.
Hey, let's go.
Worked there for 3 months, moved over to another firm. A lot of the guys moved over. I was number one in sales there. And from that point, I moved into my own company, which was Prodigy. We actually had another name back then, but it eventually became Prodigy shortly thereafter. And within, of course, I hired my friends. That was, an awesome business decision at that time. We had a bunch of fun. That was the main thing. But we
about that.
started a small group, started doing loans there. Of course, we had a background already. I'd already been in there and number one in sales for a while. And then within, I would say, the next 3 to 6 months, we bought or rented half of the 5th floor building in downtown Houston and had more than 25 employees, and we're doing amazing. And being, that young, we didn't even know what we were doing, but we just were all gas, no brakes.
Yeah. Yes, dude. I love that. Well, okay, so let's stay there because obviously, who I work with. They're literally my best friends.
Right.
Should you do it? I feel like a lot of people and they say like friends or family too, right? But it's like I feel like, man, I love working with my best friends But then like everybody can combat that with like a lot of times they say, well, but then the emotion gets involved, right? And can you really do both? Can you be the boss and the friend, right? Or the leader and the employee, but still maintain that relationship? I mean, I love it. And I think, I mean, there's been a couple of times where it's kind of like, okay, friendship kind of getting involved, but I don't think I would trade it. What are your thoughts on that, right? Like, obviously you had some fun. Like, would you do it again? What's your advice to somebody on that?
You know, and I guess it depends on the friend, right? And where their work ethic and what they want to do and how they want to move forward on that. Would I do it again? Yeah. And like I said, it just depends on what they really want to achieve and how I can help them get there if that were the case. Now, I would say if you're coming to interview with a pair of cutoff shorts and a malt liquor, no, that's not I think I need a little more respect and we need a little more gas than that to be successful in any type of industry,
right.
Which that actually did happen at one point.
You said that is a real story.
That is a real story. Cut off shorts with a malt liquor in the interview with me. I declined to employ this friend.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So I want to ask you. You said all gas, no brakes, and you're definitely somebody who I view that way, where it's like, man, this dude gets after it and he just gets shit done. I want to go back a little bit. Like, where does that work ethic come from? Is that something you think that, you just were instilled with by, through your family and through your parents and kind of that upbringing? Or was it something you think you kind of always had where like, dude, no matter what, I'm just going to make it work? Like, where does that all gas, no brakes kind of mindset and mentality and work ethic come from?
Well, I think that's kind of always been me, but it was never like towards work or success. It was more just having fun. And then definitely, some came from parents, grandparents, but mostly it was a decision kind of later in life, where you get to that point, let's say you're 25-ish, I think I was married and about to have kids, that type of thing. And it was time for all gas at that point because I didn't have a choice. It was either not successful or I got to hit the gas on this thing. And I did.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I think that's something important though, because I definitely have conversations like that a lot where, it's like when you back yourself against the wall and the only other option is success, and some people don't like that feeling of like backing themselves into where, hey, there is no other freaking option.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of power to that, right? I mean, it's like where there is nothing, dude, I got all of this that's coming up. But it goes back to like the fear mindset too. I think sometimes people get so overwhelmed or so scared that, dude, what if the what ifs? It's like, well, what if it doesn't work out, right?
Correct. You'll what if yourself to death.
Yeah, that you will, man. That you will. Well, okay, cool. So we know a little bit about his backstory now. And we're going to get into a little bit more technical stuff and some advice towards the tail end of the show. But I do actually, Thad, I have some questions for you, man.
Yeah.
Because this guy is the relationship guy. I think that's probably why we, really got connected in the first place. And now we're doing business together is, if Thad can't do it, man, he's got a guy that can. I mean, he's like me in that sense where, hey, just call me. And if I can't, I'd probably have somebody in my network that can. I've even experienced that with you recently where it's like, yo, Thad, you got anybody? He's like, yo, dude, let me make a couple of calls. And what do you know? We're working on that. But relationships, right? Relationships are the key to so much in business, right? There's obviously a few other aspects that are needed in running a successful business, like the back office and the admin. We'll talk through some of that as well. But it's the relationship piece, which I think you excel at. Like you have, and when I say relationship too, it's not just knowing somebody. It's like literally when you call, they pick up because there is actually a relationship there, right? And I'm not going to define relationship, but you guys understand where I'm going with that. So you have built or you have had to build relationships across multiple industries, Dad. What's the secret sauce to making those connections stick? Making them stick. I think we can all go make friends at a conference or at a golf outing or a networking event, but then there's no real relationship that comes from that. And I think you've been able to do, the other side of that. What is it? How do you go out and gain those relationships, but then ultimately, how do you get them to stick for, I mean, you said you started Prodigy in, 1999, early 2000. It's 2025 and it's still rocking and rolling, right? So obviously the relationships have stuck, but also relationships can change too. What's your kind of advice? Again, like how do you go out and build these relationships, but what's your secret sauce to getting them to stick?
Well, certainly developing the relationships. Like you said, we can go to different things, meet people, chit chat, have a great relationship starting there. And I think it's more to make it stick and make it long lasting is doing what you say you're going to do is the number one thing. And then it becomes a trusting relationship. And from that point, you're able to, know that every time that you've called that or I'm calling in to somebody for that relationship or that loan or real estate or investment, that they know I'm going to 100% do what I say that I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. Keep going on that. What is it? So outside of just doing what now, well, I guess too, does it get harder to do what you say you're going to do as you grow, as your business gets more, as you get busier, right? Has that ever been a challenge or?
I mean, it has, but not so much. It becomes a little bit easier the longer that you go through it because you know what you can and can't do. And if you've said that, yes, I can do this and I want to move forward on it, I guess over time you gain that knowledge to know what you can and can't do. And that's kind of key to things. You're not promising something that you can't deliver, or if there is an option that it can't work out, you want to be upfront and make sure that that's all worked out and everybody's understanding on that. And then, from that point, you just have to move forward.
And how do those impact your business long term? Right? Like relationships, again, we're talking, 25 years later, a lot of those relationships are still intact, or really even maybe again, if they're even just new relationships, what does that do for a business long term? I mean, obviously, so we're here within the insurance syndicate, and this will go live on my personal profile as well. So this doesn't just apply to insurance, but a lot of these industries where you're having these people are having the most success when it comes to revenue and sales and really again, it's all relationship based. We are in a relationship based industry, and that definitely applies to real estate and mortgage. What is the power of having those relationships in place? What has that done for your business?
Well, I think that's the key to being successful is having those relationships and them trusting me to call in and deliver what I need to deliver. Quick story on that. One of the, I think, either first or second largest lenders in the United States, I started with them as one of their brokers when they first started with this. This is Matt Ishba, and it's UWM. If everybody's heard of them, go look them up. But they started and they had a bunch of trouble getting started, if you will. And I mean, it was a crazy time, certainly back in the day. But we started with those guys, and now they've grown into, what was a mortgage bank, grown into a full legal bank, and then from that point, a full lender, and now they are one of the largest, if not the largest, lender in the United States.
And it's probably you have their phone number.
I do have their phone number on speed dial.
So I can call them if I need to. Would you say full legal or full Eagle Bank?
Full Eagle.
What's that mean?
Full Eagle is just where you're a mortgage broker and banker, and that is where you can lend out your own money. But if you're a full Eagle Bank, it's still loaning out your own money, but you are completing the servicing a lot of times, and you are you're warehousing your own loan.
Love it. Let's see here. Tony got a question for you. What if they're? Oh, sorry, Tony. I must have missed this because I don't know where this is going to apply. If I can pick up where you were tracking, I'll ask the question. Okay, let me ask you this. Not to out anybody. In your seat, what's the most important relationship that you have in your business? Like, okay, for what you're running, right? And obviously you've got 3 businesses, if not more, that are kind of running alongside each other. I love and we'll definitely talk about that, where I think you've done a really good job of creating that kind of like full circle experience for a client when it comes to home buying or investing and stuff like that. What is like your most important relationship where, dude, I could not, like, without this, dude, we wouldn't be able to make it work?
I would say my account executives for each one of my lenders. And then also, my team on real estate, different things. But my account executives, when you have someone that really knows what they're doing and does a great job. And then now we're reversing it to me trusting them trusting me to deliver things. And then I trust that their knowledge is correct because it has to be pretty much 100% of the time. And when you have that relationship with a great AE, it's amazing. And you can get just about anything done.
Yep. Yes, 100%. Well, we're talking about relationships, which are important. Relationships are so freaking important to have in your business, especially when it comes to strategic relationships, which is some of kind of what we're referring to here. Whether you can do it yourself or whether you have somebody on your team or somebody on speed dial that you can call, that's really important to have. But at the end of the day, a relationship is just a relationship. Why are we creating the relationship? Why are we a relationship based industry, y'all? It's like because we're making sales, dude. So I have a good one for you, Thad. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this. But if you could use 3 words to describe your sales approach, what would they be?
Ooh, good one.
3 words to describe your sales approach. I've got a few that come to mind when I think of you, but curious to see what you say.
Honesty.
3 words. Three. 3 words. Well, hey, honesty is a good start, guys. What's 3 words? Like I think of like a phrase or something.
3 words. Honesty, knowledge, and deliver.
So you want to know what I think? What? The 3 words are: get it done. I think that's always something I've heard from you, especially, we'll be sitting across the table from each other or we're working or whatever. And you're just like, dude, you just got to get it done.
Get it done.
You got to get it done. Talk through some of your sales approach and how you think you've kind of had success. Because again, I know that's like a lot of your background, right? The relationship piece is key. We're not saying that it's not, y'all, but we are going out here and making these relationships to hopefully sell them, right? And don't like read that as derogatory or anything. Like, no, we also have to make sales to make money in these industries as well. What's kind of your approach to that, and how have you found success in sales with that get it done mentality?
Yeah, I would say mostly, everybody's got a different approach to how they work in sales. And of course, we are making sales. It's not a derogatory thing. We have products that people need, and we want to give those great products to those people. And of course, enhance their knowledge on what those products do and what they don't know about those products. I've always kind of been more of the non-sales approach, non-aggressive, non-anything. And it's more kind of what you're talking about, building relationship or building that trust initially upfront, whether it's on the phone or in person. And I think you can most of the time hear it in that person's voice that he is a guy that you can probably trust, that has the knowledge and will deliver exactly what he says he's going to do.
You in person or telesales? What's easier for you to sell? I feel like I'm like double-edged because I do a lot over the phone, but man, if I get you in person, dude, it's going to be really hard for you to say no.
Definitely in person, because then you can actually see and talk to me, and you can look at my eyes and know that I'm telling you exactly the truth.
Right. Do you think that depends on the industry? Because like I still know a lot of people in insurance, like Ryan Wimmer. I don't know if you are watching this or not. An awesome agent. He's been on the show before, and dude, they are still in the day and age that we live in. It is door-to-door sales, dude. And in North Carolina, I think is where he's at, selling freaking final expense and other life insurance products. And it's like door-to-door. I've never once knocked on a door to sell any type of insurance product. I have to sell my coupon cards for, school sports back when I was in high school, but he is out here crushing. I mean, they do millions of dollars of production only going door to door. Do you think it depends on the industry? Do you think it can be inefficient in some senses or is it like, you know what, dude, that you get so much more out of that in person that it's worth the time? A lot of people is like, well, why would I drive over there when I could just get on a Zoom call with them now? What are your kind of thoughts on that?
So, I know a lot of things have changed, certainly how you market, advertise, and how sales work. I do like kind of more of the old school approach where you're going to, have functions, meet people, shake hands. Certainly I wouldn't be opposed to walking and meeting people at the door, introducing myself. And I think that goes a long way. Is it more effective? Can you make more phone calls? Yes. However, I really like that personal relationship. And And when you do that correctly and people gain that trust with you, then that starts going deep and wide. And by that, I mean, they'll recommend their family to you, and then their family will recommend their families to you. And you become now a person that they know that when you call Thad, it just gets done, and they can trust everything that goes through.
Yep. You became that, Coach Burke calls it becoming the person of interest.
Yep.
I love what you said when you're talking about your sales approach. He goes, we have the products. Everybody listen to this. This was a gold nugget. You should be taking notes. It's in the description. We have products that they need. We educate and provide value, and then you just don't even have to sell them. Right? It's like we literally have the products that they need, especially in the insurance space, right? Like for property and casualty, not necessarily on the life side, right? But for PNC specifically, like you have to have me, right? So then it's like, how am I separating Joe? How am I not being the average Joe, right? And separating myself from the rest of the crew? Well, it's like, dude, I'm not that, pushy salesman that is trying to ram insurance down their freaking throat. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to explain to them what insurance is, what it can do for them, what it can protect, right? Really providing value. I'm not trying to freaking sell them. And you guys, you will be amazed, right? And there's obviously, I think there's some strategy into those conversations. Some of the, the words that you kind of plug in subconsciously, like for me, this is a good one. I'll give you guys this. One of my sales managers, you'll get a laugh out of this one too, Thad. So this was back in my Allstate days. And I had a team of, I was the first ever remote employee. We were out in the capital region, but we were a mega agency. We were doing like 1.2 million a month with just captive Allstate. I mean, it's crazy. I had like a team of 40 people, but we grew so fast that we had to bring on other sales managers and stuff. And so we brought on this guy, Matt, and man, I couldn't stand him, dude. I was just like, oh my gosh, this dude, like, just, he does everything differently than me. He comes from a Geico call center, but the dude was a stone cold killer on the phone. Like, I mean, he did like over $1 million a year with Geico call center every single year for, I can't tell you how many years in a row. So he obviously knew what he was doing, but I was a little hesitant. I didn't really like him that much. This guy goes, Joe, when you're talking to these people, stop using the word quote. Because then what are they there for? Just a quote. And I was like, yeah, whatever, bro. Like, what? Seriously? And he's like, no, seriously, like today on the phones, I don't want to hear you say the word quote. Use policy, use rates, use numbers, use anything other than a quote, right? Because I'm not here to quote them. I'm here to hopefully sell a policy, right? So subconsciously, like when I'm speaking to people, I talk about their numbers. I talk about their policy. I talk about deck pages, whatever that might be. I never started, or once I stopped using the word quote, my closing ratio went up over 12% just by one word, which is just crazy to me. And it's like those small things, I think when you can package those into a relationship of providing education and value, by the end of that value pitch, right, they're ready to get a policy, not just to get a quote from you. That one always, I was like, man, I couldn't stand that dude. And then I had to go to him. I was like, all right, bro. Like kudos to you, man.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. So real quick, I got one more question here before we kind of get into more of the technical loan and investing side of things and just kind of picking your brain on that. That's kind of more for me. I don't know how y'all really operate on that side. But a question, actually, I'm not even going to use these anymore. I got one that I was just thinking of. So a lot of what we call our COIs, and that's not a certificate of insurance or anything. We're calling, this is our center of influence. There's acronyms for everything in insurance, y'all. Right. Your centers of influence, right? Realtors and mortgage people are, entire agencies, that's what they have been built on, is those relationships with realtors and lenders, right? So obviously you being in that space and have been in that space for 20 plus years now, if you were to speak to an insurance agent, what would you tell them on, like, hey, if they want to come work with that, if they want to get all your business, which they can't now because Thad has his own insurance agency, True. But if in the past they wanted to come do business with that and get all your referrals and create that relationship, what we've been talking about, how do they do that? What is the best way for an insurance person to get a realtor or a lender in your experience? Or what would you look for?
Well, I'd say let's go back to the old school thing and go actually meet. Certainly phone calls are great, and getting in touch with people and doing the normal deliverance of your flyers and all the different marketing that everybody does. Nothing wrong with that. But standing out from that crowd or going to develop that relationship in person, I think makes a bigger difference. And then also going back to kind of what I said, you're not really trying to sell that realtor or mortgage person into anything other than yourself. And when you're trying to sell yourself, that's all you need to do. You need to develop that relationship. And I think that's key to now you build trust. Now you build, everything else. And that now you're the person that realtor or mortgage person will trust and move forward with. And you have to deliver what you say you're going to do.
What if they already have I mean, obviously I know you were like looking at the Goosehead model before we met. And like their agencies, like they push the Goosehead people to go. So it's like if I were to go out in Austin now, I feel like every mortgage lender, and they've already got a list of like 5 Goosehead agents that have come through there. What is, like, when you say develop that relationship, especially if we're talking in person, what does the develop actually mean? Like, okay, hey, I've already got somebody or whatever. Like, how can I come in and kind of get that business, or at least try to?
Well, certainly I'm sure, just like you said, most realtors, mortgage people already have been contacted by 100 people, let's just say, and everybody fighting for that business. This is kind of the thing where I said, if you step outside of that norm, and you're not the same person always making the phone call or always just delivering a flyer to their office type of situation, you would go and have those special meetings or do things and develop that relationship so you could move forward as somebody that they could trust.
I think, who was this guy? Oh, Tony, if you're still watching, dude, put this in the put it in the comments, because it's going to drive me crazy. Man, it's this guy's. It's going to drive me freaking crazy. But he would go around. I believe it was to dealerships, and it might have been to lenders and real estate people too. And he would always leave. I want to say it was like a rubber duck. And that rubber duck, he would just sit it there, or it was either a rubber duck or like a stress ball or something, man. But it was just like something that was I'm pretty sure it was a rubber duck that had his contact info. And it just always kind of just sat on that, that account person's there, whatever that service person's desk that's up front taking those, the walk-ins. And it was like that right there got him so much business, because anytime, oh, hey, it's like that rubber duck just like totally freaking stuck out to people. I'm glad I just went here. What's the importance of branding? I mean, you're in multiple industries. I think you're kind of rocking multiple different brands, I think, at least on the business side, but everything still flows to Thad. What's your thoughts on like branding and how you should kind of brand and market yourself to just to the consumer?
So I probably don't brand as much as I should. More so on each one of the industries or each one of the businesses that I owned. I mean, we do brand, we are out there certainly, but it's more the relationship with me than it is the name of my company. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. I tell people that I think it's part of that too, is if the company name ever changes, dude, it don't change, right? Like so many people are like, Clearview, what is Joe wearing? Like, speaking of branding, they're like, what is Clearview? Like, I thought Joe was with Redwood. And it's like, even though Redwood just went away, like I say went away, we did some things, but it was the brand was Joe. So none of that business, the referrals or the leads never really stopped, regardless of that company name, because of how important that personal brand is. I love that. Well, dude, let's get into it. We're about halfway through, a little bit past. I know you had brought some stuff, and y'all, this is just some things that Thad wanted to literally bring to y'all, things that maybe you guys don't know about, some of the services that they can offer. And really, again, I think this goes back to, how you can help your clients too. A lot of y'all have heard me talk about the mortgage-free life stuff and things. It's another tool in your tool belt to help separate you from the rest of everybody else, right? Because there's thousands of us out there trying to get this business. So I mean, I'll go ahead. I know you had your sheet. Where's your cheat sheet at? Unless you just have all of that memorized.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, I'm gonna turn it over to you, dude. I'm gonna take some notes. And again, y'all, this is just some things that you may not know about. And again, education, value, and then ultimately, if it leads to a relationship, it can. So
certainly, so many products that I couldn't even, but I would have to spend a lot of time going over everything, and it's just a massive amount of information. Kind of what Joe said earlier, if it can be done, call me, because I can probably do it. And some of the things that I've had, certainly a lot of close friends, family, a lot of people that we market to come to me as their first home, even second home, different type of scenarios. But one thing that people don't understand is that you can actually buy a home with almost no money out of pocket, or very, very minimal out of pocket. And this comes from having the knowledge both on the mortgage side of things and then also the real estate, because they have to combine both of these guys to be able to get the correct thing. And I'll explain that scenario. So let's just say that you are a first-time home buyer. It doesn't have to be, but this is just a typical scenario. First house, you make okay money. You've picked out a house, you're good to go. Real estate wise, we would negotiate with the seller to contribute a certain amount up to your closing cost. So you get your closing cost that would be typical on the loan. And then on the loan, we have a couple of different products, well, several different products, but one is an FHA loan that goes to 97.5%. And then you can either get down payment assistance or you get a grant to cover. So the grant is forgivable. And I think over time, the down payment assistance is also as well. There's different requirements, and I would have to go to see what each person qualifies for. But those two are everyday options that people don't understand, that there are grants that allow, like I literally just closed one 2 months ago. One of my good friend's girlfriend, first house she's ever bought, and she didn't think it was even possible. She closed. She now owns a house. So excited, and we're so happy for her. And then immediately she turned around. This is back to the relationship thing. And one of her coworkers was impressed that she was able to get in a house on the salary that she made and go through the process. So now we're doing her coworker as well. And now this will be her first house. And they both were qualified to get those grants back to back.
How do you learn about that? I mean, that's like some of the conversations I've been in recently, dude. I'm just like, how do you even know this shit, man? Like, I mean, it's crazy how, and again, you just don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. Years and years of knowledge and then constant learning all the time. We have meetings at Prodigy. We call them Ignite meetings. Really fun. But we all get together and research a bunch of different products and things that we don't know about and share that with our entire group to make sure that all of our loan officers are as knowledgeable as they can be on all the upcoming products or any product changes, because certainly in the mortgage industry, products change all the time. Rolling back through some of these things, one big thing, back in the day, there was a thing called a one-time construction loan, one-time close construction loan. That kind of went away. And then now it is back with one of our biggest lenders. We can go up to 95% on a construction loan, and we can close super quick, one time, one set of closing costs, and you're off and running. So for builders or individuals that are building houses, this is a massively awesome product that used to be here a long time ago. It moved to a 2-time close, meaning that you would have to go to your bank or a bank, close once just for the construction, then come back again, not knowing where the rate's going to be or anything else, and close with a whole separate set of closing costs again for your permanent loan. So this is a massive thing. And I encourage all builders or individuals that are looking to build a home, get in touch with us, because this is a really awesome product. You got one low rate. It's great. You only pay interest only when you're building, so your payments are minimal. And that's only on the draw. And if just to kind of explain how the draw, let's say that you're going to break ground. You get the loan. We approve you. We've closed. You're going to get your first draw. Let's say there's 4 to 5 draws. You're going to do your dirt work, your foundation, your plumbing in that first draw, where you're only, let's just say that you pulled out $50,000, where you're only paying interest only at that rate just on that draw. Then you go to your second draw, where you're only paying interest only on that. So your payments as you're developing is not on the full amount of the loan. It's only the interest only per your draw. So a lot of people would think, okay, with that, I need to borrow $600,000 to build this house. Well, I'm paying a note while we're building for that 1 year,
right,
at that $600,000 payment. No, not at all. you're only paying $50,000 in interest only on that up until you complete. And once you go to complete, then you start your regular full payments.
Okay.
A couple of quick different things. We talked about the FHA grant situation that would get you to 100%. We negotiate on the real estate side to cover closing costs with the seller. Also, VA has a construction loan, and I don't know, a lot of people were like, VA construction, what are you talking about?
Virtual assistants.
Yeah.
So anytime I hear VA, I just always think
virtual
like
assistant.
a virtual assistant loan. What the?
We're talking veteran affairs.
I
here.
know.
But they have a 100% construction loan. So VAs that are out there, if you didn't know that, one, you can purchase a house. We do VA loans all the time. We're really great at it. Our rates are super low. You can purchase any house that you want at 100%. And then if we're doing the real estate as well, we negotiate with the seller to help cover the closing costs. I've literally closed a loan where, let's just say it was a $300,000 loan. We went through VA. They get 100% on the financing. Now, typically you would still have closing cost of, let's say, $5,000, $7,000 with your title and all kind of different fees, appraisal, inspections, etc. Well, what we were able to do is get the seller to cover all of those costs for them. And then your earnest money, when we wrote the contract, I was able to actually return your earnest money back to you. So you literally, my client, I think, was out $500 roughly, which was just the cost of his termite inspection and his regular inspection. That was it at the end of the day.
Jeez.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah, that is. What else? You got anything else that you want to kind of go through on that? I've got a few other questions for you too, but
a couple other quick notes that I just.
Or I guess if anybody too, also, I know I'm watching y'all. What's up, Brian? Good to see you on here, Victor. What's up, Laura? I see you tuning in as well. If you guys have any questions about what we're talking about, feel free to drop those in the comments. I'm watching it to make sure that we get it answered live. Brian says, great stuff today. Absolutely, Brian. Good to see you, man. We need to catch up, dude. It's been quite a while since I've even seen you in person. You need to come to 8% with us or something this year. But yeah, go if you anything else. Go for it.
Just a couple of other quick things that a lot of people don't know. One, if you're buying from a family member, a lot of times, let's say that your mom or another family member want to sell you that house, or your grandmother wants to sell the house because they're going to move on to something else, or they want to retire or move somewhere else. You can purchase that house. If there's enough equity in it, they can gift you the 20%. Then that means you can literally walk into that house with an agreed contract. There's a certain way that we have to write this, but you can walk into that house refinancing or purchasing it from a family member with zero money. They can cover the closing cost. We can gift the 20% back to you, making that 100% loan. A lot of people don't. It has to be structured a certain way, but that's something that a lot of people don't understand or know about, that you can actually do it that way. Instead of putting any percent down or any type of money on a conventional loan, we can actually gift that 20% back. Other thing was a non-occupying co-borrower. This is kind of a big thing, because I've had several friends that wanted to purchase a house, and let's say their kids are going to college and they know that they're going to graduate or they're going to move on from that point, but they wanted to buy a house. Your parents or family member can be a non-occupying co-borrower, meaning that you could actually buy a house even though your kid doesn't really have the greatest credit or hardly any credit. They will allow the father, the uncle, mother, brother, anybody to be on that loan as non-occupying that and still go conventional. And that kid now is on a loan, building credit. This is just a great way to either start investments and or build credit over that time. Okay,
well, you just said investments. Obviously, I know what all you got cooking. What do you have cooking outside of? We'll come back to insurance, but for investment properties and things like that, what all are you doing on that side? And do you believe that is a good wealth building strategy? I would assume yes, but you can enlighten some folk here.
I do. I would say you certainly want to be careful with real estate investing. A lot of different programs and different things try to make it seem like this is a no-brainer, easy way to do, but this thing can actually burn you quicker than anything. You want to be real careful with that. And you want to have somebody that you really trust that will look over this, make sure that they run the correct information to make sure that, is this a legitimate, good investment? Will this pay over? And is it going to be a long-term hold? Is it going to be a short flip? A lot of knowledge, of course, comes into that. You just want to be real careful on that. Don't run out and just go buy a bunch of investment homes or try to make those investments, because something's going to bite you. And it only takes one to take away 20.
Right. And I've heard even, worse than that too. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
So obviously you guys can hear his expertise when it comes to, the real estate and the mortgage side of things, and even really just on the bank side of things too. I think, in order for you to, you got to know how all the money works too. Right. I mean, I think that's also something important. And where's the money? So, okay, how is this going to flow from here to here to here? And then I think, now in this kind of next phase, really, it's like, okay, well, where's the money flow? Okay, so we're in the real estate, and all right, we're going to help this person close on their first house. Now, where's that next step in we'll call it the cash flow, right? Well, it's insurance. You got to have insurance to close it.
Got to have insurance.
What got you into insurance? You're like, obviously, I mean, you're having success, right? I mean, you live a good life. You get to take the family to Disney and all this. And you're like, you know what? Screw it, dude. I'm going to start up an insurance franchise.
Well,
what was the mindset before getting into it? Because I know, obviously, you've learned so much even in a short period of time, and some of it drives you crazy. What even had you thinking like, man, insurance could be, because I think there's a lot of power to that, especially for anybody that's newer in here that may be struggling, or even is like, man, should I really even kind of get into this thing? Maybe I'm interested in getting my license, but I'm not there yet. What kind of caused you to like, dude, insurance would be the next piece in this for our businesses?
Well, certainly connected to my different companies, it's all in the same realm. It's kind of almost like circling the wagons or a one-stop shop scenario. My wife is now the broker of our bank, Prodigy. And then I run that company, and then also run a real estate firm. And then my son is helping me, Mason Lindsay.
Mason.
Yeah. He's running the insurance end of things, which is really working out. And we're pretty excited about that. Yeah.
What's one thing you like about insurance? I want to see, because I know all the things you don't like.
Oh my gosh.
Don't get that started on easy links, guys. He'll lose his mind.
Don't do it.
What is one thing you like? We're talking about relationship too, right? And I think that is a cool piece where the savings is cool, right? But then also, even seeing Mason learning, like, hey man, look at those limits. Like, and I know kind of like, man, let's try to bump those up and help these people and still look for those savings. Like, what's one thing you think in the, past 6 or so months that you've been up and running that you kind of enjoy about it, or that you like about it?
Definitely seeing the people get excited about where they were and saving that amount of money. And just on my personal, we had Mason run my own personal stuff. And of course, I've had friends and different people that were, that I had went with, actually Goosehead at one point, and found out that, if you've got an agent that is constantly shopping for you and looking at different stuff, doing a really good job and being that person that you really needed them to be, you're going to be saving the max amount of money. And just with my son running quotes, for me, I ended up saving on one of my properties $1,800 a year, another property $900 a year, and another property $400 a year. That's a pretty significant savings on just.
It's a trip to Disney.
That's a trip. There's my Disney pay for.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. No,
not even a scratch. That may be a dinner or two.
Not to bring it up, not to rub salt in the wound. I love it, man. Well, obviously, and we are seeing the comments. My buddy Brian, he says he's been wholesaling, and definitely very lucrative. Real estate is where it's at and always will be. What's up, Patrick? Good to see you on here, man. And then Brian also said, see how important knowing someone who knows all the ins and outs of the real estate and mortgage game is? It's like, yeah, right. And what you just said, we work hand in hand, right? Like it doesn't go without the other, where if I'm trying to sell home insurance, it's not a lot of the times that I'm finding somebody that's just going out and buying a freaking home cash. I'm working with a lender, or I guess if they're buying it cash, typically they've got a realtor as well, right? That can help make that introduction and create that relationship for me. So good stuff, man. Well, as we kind of come to a close, guys, again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to drop those in the comments. Even if you're catching the replay, we will definitely circle back and we can get those answered for you and definitely get you connected to Thad. But man, typically how I like to kind of close these things out is kind of what's on the horizon for Thad and the Lindsay group and Prodigy and REI Home Realty, and like what's kind of next on the horizon, man? Like what are you guys really trying to achieve in 2025, but even really, I mean, kind of in the next 5 years, man, which is crazy. It's already April, almost May of 2025 too.
Certainly Prodigy wise, the market's starting to change. Rates are starting to lower a little bit. Things are starting to loosen up, which is great. We're coming off of kind of a hold for quite a long time now. We really are developing the company, making it as lean and mean as we possibly can, more efficient. Definitely working on branding and different stuff that we haven't done as much as we would like to. And then going from there on real estate wise, we're looking to expand by bringing several more agents in and really looking at teaching, if they don't already have this knowledge, how to make those correct investments, what to do, really gain them the knowledge to get out there and help other clients on just the knowledge that we have. So we are looking to pull more agents in and try to develop that a lot more.
Mm-hmm. And then
insurance wise,
yeah,
the thing that everybody needs.
Yeah. Where do you see that at the end of this year? I mean, obviously I know you're new and you guys have learned so much and still figuring stuff out. And that's, I've been in over 10 years. I mean, just like what you said on the mortgage and the real, it's changing all the freaking time, right? We'll always continue to kind of need to bring in that education and development, right? Whether that's just from our own research or from other people that are doing it. Where do you see your agency at? Let's just say by the end of this year.
Being that I'm really new to this, certainly we've got things that we're looking forward to, and I really am excited about gaining and using the knowledge that we have on the different successful companies that I own and applying that to the real estate or the insurance side of things. I don't know that I have an actual number for you yet, Joe.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know. Here's always the best answer I can give. As best as we can do it and the biggest we can go to make sure that we're still absolutely efficient for every one of our clients.
Love it, dude. That's a good answer. There's a lot of you don't knows, but as long as we're waking up and getting after it, doing the best that we can, that's all that anybody can really ask. Awesome, man. Well, as we close out, how can people reach out to Thad if they want to touch base with you?
Yeah, certainly you can call my cell phone, send me a text, email, whichever way that works best for everybody. Do we have a option of posting that out, or
we can come back? You can if you want to just say it live, and then we'll and then I can come back and post it in there.
Yeah, feel free to text me anytime if you even have any questions, or you just want to run a scenario through real estate, mortgage, or insurance, of course. But my number is 281-772-6786. Feel free to text me at any point. Even if you have the silliest question, don't even worry about it. Just call. We'll discuss anything. Even if you're not ready to buy a house or to do a mortgage, I'm always available.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, thank you for hopping on the show, man. It's been great to get to know you here recently, and even just, again, your network and some of the relationships that have come out of that, man. You guys are awesome people, and have we have some fun too, man. So we have some fun, but at the end of the day, when it comes to business, and when it comes to business, we get it done, right? All gas, no brakes. So happy winning on Wednesday, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you are watching the replay, don't hesitate to drop those weekly wins or ask any questions. We will circle back and either celebrate with you or get those questions answered. Again, thank you, Thad. Thank you to all of our members that are tuning in. We will see y'all next week at 9 a.m. Central, but you know what day it is. It is Wednesday. It is not, it's the middle of the week, but it is the peak of the week. We keep saying it. All gas, no brakes. Keep your pedal down. And we will see you guys next week. We appreciate you. Have a good one.